From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Good morning and thanks for starting your day with us. Today is Sunday, July 13th. I'm Max Darrow. Here's a look at what we've got at the top of the rundown today. Power is back on this morning for thousands of customers, PG&E customers in the North Bay. An outage started just before 7 o'clock last night, affecting people in Sausalito, Marin City, and even some people in Mill Valley. Many restaurants had to close early for the night, right in the middle of the dinner rush during peak tourism season. City officials say a blown transformer caused the disruption for the second time this year. A nearly 70-acre grass fire in Vacaville is now under control. It broke out late Saturday afternoon in a rural area near Travis Air Force Base. The fire triggered 4 alarms, with each alarm signaling a need for additional crews. A battalion chief says the spark for this fire may have come from a Mylar balloon hitting a power line. A farm worker injured during an immigration raid in Southern California has died. The United Farm Workers Union prematurely reported his death on Friday when he was actually on life support. But on Saturday, his niece confirmed his death to CBS News. The raids on Thursday by ICE and Customs and Border Protection targeted 2 cannabis farms in Ventura County. Homeland Security reports authorities arrested 319 people suspected of being undocumented. The man who died worked at a farm in Camarillo. First Alert meteorologist Zoe Mintz joins us live now on this Sunday morning. And Zoe, we have just another weekend chock full of so many events, so many things happening across the Bay Area today. And I assume the microclimates will be in full effect.
I mean, just look behind us right now. It is so much foggier than it was yesterday morning. You're driving through a bit of a mist as we step out. So if you're leaving early today, you might want to give yourself an extra minute or two because visibility is definitely a bit more of an issue this morning than it was yesterday, closer to our coastal communities. This is a beautiful sunrise that I want to show you from on top of Mount Diablo. And normally, we don't see as beautiful as sunrises from Mount Diablo because it's facing west and the sun rises in the east, but there's still beautiful colors no matter what direction you're looking in. 360-degree vibrantness because of a little bit of wildfire smoke that still is in the uppermost levels of the atmosphere. It doesn't matter if you're Mount Diablo, Black Mountain, everybody is seeing these beautiful colors above the clouds. Unfortunately, most of us are below the clouds right now, though. And when it comes to our smoke, it's not going to last much longer than today. The onshore winds are going to continue to pick up and usher most of the smoke that was sitting overhead off and away from the Bay Area over the next 24 hours or so. However, as many of you noticed, the biggest issue this morning, definitely the fog that is filling into our valley communities all across the Bay Area. It's a lot thicker, it's a lot denser than it was yesterday. If you live in the low elevations, you're seeing fog right now. But I'll let you know when a little bit more sunshine will return and how long these foggy conditions will stick around coming up in just a bit. Back to you, Max.
Thank you for that, Zoe. Trash continues to pile up in 24 Bay Area cities affected by the nationwide Teamsters strike. The company responsible for pickup, Republic Services, is actually bringing in substitute drivers to collect trash this weekend. Some of these drivers are coming from places as far away as Texas. Service still is limited, and in towns without pickup, free trash drop-off sites will be open once again today. Da Lin has more now from the East Bay.
Good thing for you, this is television and not smell-o-vision, because after 4 or 5 days of baking in the sun, this stuff doesn't smell too good. But there is some relief in sight. Trash trucks emptying overflowing bins.
I'm glad. It's great news.
Sweet relief for families whose mounting garbage has been attracting unwanted visitors. Rodents, roaches, and birds have been thriving in the growing piles of trash.
Had to dodge trash and trash cans, and things are starting to blow around and get loose. So I suspect that animals are getting into it at night.
Michael Rhodes Baker lives in Richmond, where Republic Services customers haven't had regular trash pickup since Tuesday. Instead, the city opened 3 drop-off sites on Saturday, allowing residents to dispose of up to 4 bags of waste. We caught up with Michael at one of those sites.
We have 2 kids at home as well, so it's been piling up in a rather smelly fashion and rather aggressively with diapers and all the sort of care that comes with being a family of 4.
Great turnout today. I've been actually really appreciative of everybody who's turned out today. Everybody has been so sweet, so kind.
But some customers are losing patience.
We just had a rate increase for about $8 to $9. And after that increase, here it is, we're not getting service. So I wonder, are we going to be compensated for the service we're not receiving?
Republic Services is providing limited trash collection this weekend in some East Bay cities, including Union City and Fremont. The company flew in out-of-state workers, some from as far as Texas, but there aren't enough substitute drivers to cover all the impacted Bay Area communities.
I'm in Colorado. I'm from Colorado. People were very, very happy that we're helping out.
Thousands of Bay Area families are affected by a strike that originated outside the region. Local Teamsters are participating in solidarity with their national union. Customers like Michael hope both sides can reach a deal soon.
Let's take care of our workers and the people who take care of us, doing the work that many of us are unwilling to do.
The substitute drivers are only picking up trash for now. No word on when they'll start to collect recycling and compost.
Both the Teamsters and Republic Services say they will be talking again tomorrow. As President Trump escalates trade tensions with Mexico, some Bay Area chefs are feeling the pressure. One Mission District restaurant owner says looming tariffs could hit more than just his food costs, but they could hurt his community too. The owner of a restaurant called Donaji says a 30% tariff on imports like avocados and limes will drive up his costs. But he says he's committed to keeping prices fair, especially for his largely Latino neighborhood. He's also seen fewer customers lately, which links to fear from recent ICE raids. Listen.
To-go staff comes from overseas, most of them, and we get hit with that, with the tariffs. We're a Mexican restaurant, avocados, limes, that's another thing that it will affect us.
He says he's vowing to keep pushing to protect his food, culture, and his community. A local nonprofit has supporters jumping off of tall buildings to help spread their message. Watch. About 45 people rappelled down the side of the Westin St. Francis Hotel on Saturday in Union Square to draw attention to a nonprofit that works to raise awareness about strokes and brain aneurysms. Survivors and supporters descended the 14-story building, fulfilling an idea the executive director of the Aneurysm and AVM Foundation says actually started as a joke.
I said, I should just go on top of Coit Tower and just yell, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here to help you. And this is just a really great way to get people's attention. Like, if we're gonna save your life, you gotta know who we are first.
Aneurysms alone affect nearly 1 in every 50 people. The foundation's goal is to raise $50,000 towards research. 6:08 on this Sunday morning. Let's give you a look at what's happening around the Bay today. In Sonoma, race day is underway at the Toyota Save Mart 350, NASCAR's only stop in California this season. The gates will be opening up in the next hour or so for fans to catch the Patriots Jet Team Air Show. That's happening before the race, which then starts at 12:30 at Sears Point. You can expect traffic and delays around the track all day and in and out of the North Bay. In San Francisco, Skate Week kicks off today at Building 937 in the Presidio. Roller skaters will glide with the Golden Gate Bridge as a backdrop. Proceeds from the event help fund scholarships for local students. The Stern Grove Festival continues this afternoon with performances by Fantagram and Have. The free concert series runs through August 17th at Sigmund Stern Grove, which is located at 19th and Sloat in the city. Today is the grand opening for another pop-up in downtown San Francisco. Al Pastor Papi, famous for its Mexico City-style tacos, is kicking off a new chapter in Union Square. The owner operated a food truck for several years, closed it, but then came back to business with the opportunity for a brick-and-mortar shop in the city. He's hosting a special event today, wrapping and donating burritos for those in need. And in the East Bay, San Leandro Restaurant Week kicks off today and runs through the 19th. More than 24 local restaurants are offering special menus and discounts. It's a great way to try something new if you are there in the East Bay. Coming up after the break, the popping of a paddle is keeping some people awake at night in Martinez.
We hear it in the morning, and then we hear it when we go to bed.
We've got the story about a game that's causing quite a racket in the East Bay. So,
well, we're looking at a gorgeous sunrise this morning. The colors are vibrant. They're actually reflecting from the top of the fog that is blanketing the Santa Clara Valley. most of us are not getting this beautiful of a view. Most of us are seeing a gloomy start to our morning. It's a lot foggier than yesterday. And I'll let you know how long these foggy conditions will stick around coming up in just a bit.
Welcome back. The time is 6:11 on this Sunday morning. A new pickleball court in Martinez is causing some conflict between players and people who live nearby. John Ramos explains.
In many ways, pickleball has overtaken tennis in popularity. And though the heat may have kept people off the courts today, those who live right next to them say the sound coming off the courts can be unbearable. On a hot afternoon, the passion for pickleball has cooled off a bit, but there are days when the new courts at Hidden Valley Park are crazy busy. And from his backyard, it's not something that Jason Gary can ignore.
Pickleball just has a really distinct popping sound, sharp popping sound. And it makes people nearby miserable. It's been really hard. We hear it in the morning, and then we hear it when we go to bed. And that's very horrible.
Jason's home is about 30 feet from the Hidden Valley Sport Courts, and so are a number of other houses. It used to be just 2 tennis courts, but in February, they split one of them into 8 pickleball courts, and nothing has been the same for those who live right next to them.
Would actually be more miserable than the noise level that I hear is right here. So I do feel for these people. Yep.
Come on! The city installed sound blankets, but only on one side, and Jason said it almost seems to amplify the noise directed at his home. He's placed a fountain in his backyard just to try to mask the sound, but he says the city clearly knew this was going to be a problem for homeowners on the non-blanketed side.
The city has their reasoning for why we didn't get them. I think it was a little negligent that we didn't get them because it would have provided relief for the residents.
Martinez's public information officer was at the site installing signs listing the new time restraints and asking for respect for the neighbors. She conceded that they knew there would be sound issues.
Engineering has looked at a couple of different options. Right now, the sound blankets put on this side that may be an option later down the road, but we're trying all of these different things before we go down that route because that is a bigger cost, and we would have to reconstruct, I believe, certain parts of the fences to be able to hold that type of weight.
The city has been working on the problem, and Manny Meyerson, who lives about 100 feet from the courts, says there have been improvements.
There's some concern, maybe parking and noise. I think I'm far enough away to where the sound doesn't even bother me. Mostly parking on the street. I didn't know how busy it was going to be.
And what has it become?
When it first opened up, there was more crowds, but I think they put signage there, and it seems to be better.
But for those who live right next to the courts, there is simply no avoiding the din of the pickleball craze. And Jason doesn't have a lot of hope that anyone is going to care very much about it.
There's no faith. There is no faith in that. I think human nature is to go against recommendations, and they're pretty set in their ways.
New rules have been posted involving hours of play, parking restrictions, and an encouragement of using new, quieter equipment. But so far, most of the rules are merely suggestions, with little hope of enforcement. It was the city's decision to open the courts, and the players aren't really doing anything wrong by playing there.
So, the city began a 90-day pilot program at the beginning of June to see how well the new rules and signage does in addressing the homeowners' concerns. Jason says he probably will pursue a lawsuit against Martinez anyways for creating this nuisance in the first place. It's a tricky challenge there, Zoe. And it's not only Martinez. I've heard of these issues in communities all over the place, but it really is a distinct sound.
Yes.
But it's a fun game too. So nobody's going to be happy with these outcomes.
Yeah. Did you know, fun fact, that sound travels the best in warm, humid air? So if it gets colder, maybe you won't hear it as much.
I wonder if they could report back in the wintertime then to see if there's a palpable difference.
I'm curious about that. It doesn't really ever get that cold here in the winter, though. So I feel like it's always going to be pretty loud, relatively. But what's also definitely loud out there is the fog. Well, it's not loud. You probably hear the fog horns, though, that are blaring as that low-hanging mist is just creating a gloom over a lot of the Bay Area. Anybody that lives in a low-hanging valley or closer to the coast, you're dealing with fog right now. Temperatures are pretty mild, though, sitting in the 50s all across the Bay Area. It's a comfortable heat, and we're expecting a lot of the cloud coverage from inland to peel back throughout this afternoon. Very typical for this time of year. But if you live along our coastal communities, we are expecting this thick, low-hanging fog to stick around basically all day long, and there likely is going to be a little finger of it that's going to stay pretty constant through the Golden Gate as well. So you're probably not going to get too many beautiful views of the Golden Gate this afternoon because the cloud coverage is going to be pretty constant and pretty thick. Temperatures, though, it all is dependent on where you're located. It's going to be very similar to yesterday along our coastal communities, with those high temperatures sitting in the mid to lower 60s. Again, that's within a degree or two of normal. Inland areas also within a degree or two of normal, but sitting in the upper 80s to low 90s from our inland East Bay communities down into the Santa Clara Valley. Definitely a degree or two above normal for them, while the coast is, again, very seasonable. And our North Bay community sitting in the mid to upper 70s, maybe low 80s in some locations. Either way, that makes for a beautiful day for anybody that maybe wants to head out to the race. It shouldn't be too hot out there, which is normally our big issue this time of year. Our high temperatures will be getting, again, upper 70s, low 80s, a good amount of sunshine, and also a nice breeze gusting up to 20 to 25 miles an hour. So all things to keep our eyes on. Still need to wear sunscreen, grab the sunglasses, drink a lot of water. Heat safety is still summertime, but it's not as hot as it could be for this time of year. Temperatures all across the Bay Area. Again, it really depends on where you're located, how much above average or below average you're going to be. Oakland actually expected to be a degree or two below average. And yesterday we talked all about San Jose and how they've been warming about a degree and a half since the 1970s, which means that they'll be seeing about 13 more days above normal in the summertime. Let's look at San Francisco, though, because we've been warming about 2.2 degrees since the 1970s with our average summer high temperatures. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's definitely more than San Jose. When you put that into perspective, that means we're going to be seeing 28 more days in the summertime in San Francisco above average, all thanks to human-caused climate change. Just something to kind of keep your eyes on as we step out in the years ahead of us. But in the days ahead of us, we're definitely not going to be feeling all too much of that heat. We're actually going to be feeling a bit of a cool down as those onshore winds begin to pick up and bring those inland areas even cooler than normal temperatures. They'll arrive by as soon as Tuesday and stay below average through the rest of the week ahead of us. So those of you who like the summertime heat and you live inland, today is going to be your last day to enjoy the upper 80s to low 90s. Although it's still going to be pretty warm out there tomorrow. It's Tuesday that the big cool down will officially arrive, getting back into the low 80s and staying that way throughout the end of the work week ahead of us, with a little bit more cloud coverage that's going to stick around as well, thanks to those onshore winds. Coastal communities, you're going to be staying pretty stagnant when it comes to our temperatures in the mid to lower 60s, with those foggier conditions sticking around through the early parts of next week. Max, back to you.
Coming up in sports, the Giants were trying to keep the offense rolling on Saturday for Barry Bonds bobblehead day. Plus, the Valkyries pushed all their chips in against Vegas, but the Aces played their cards just right. The Giants' bats worked overtime on Friday night before the All-Star break begins on Monday. They scored 8 runs against the Dodgers in one of their best wins of the year, and they were trying to keep it going Saturday against their rivals. They liked this bat in the lineup, Barry Bonds. He threw out the first pitch on his bobblehead day. Landon Roop started on the mound and was able to keep the game within reach for the Giants, and especially having a good one against the Dodgers' bats like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, getting a couple of Ks there. Roop finished the afternoon allowing 7 hits, 1 earned run with 8 strikeouts through 6 solid innings pitched. He would make a crucial mistake when the Dodgers had 2 men on in the 6th, and then gives up the base hit to Ha-Seong Kim, allowing former Giant Michael Conforto to score, and it would pad LA's lead to 2. The Giants didn't go down quietly, and Rafael Devers stepped to the plate with the bases loaded, maybe his signature moment, but he keeps this one in the ballpark. Only scored 1 run on the sac fly, cuts the lead in half. It wouldn't be enough. Giants go down in order in the ninth. They lose 2-1, and the Dodgers snap their 7-game losing streak, take game 2 of the weekend rivalry series. Valkyries will be happy to stay their own homes after spending Over a week on the road in 4 different cities during this last road trip, they ended the cross-country tour in Vegas, trying to improve to 2-2 on the trip. Aces owner Mark Davis taking in this game courtside with Reggie Jackson in Sin City. Picking up in the fourth quarter, Asia Wilson, problem all game. Hits the bucket, puts the Aces up 8. It was a monster game for Wilson. Finished with 34 points and 16 boards. Under 2 to play. Golden State down 3. Tough take here from Veronica Burton. Clutch bucket. Chance to tie the game at the foul line. Finished with 11 and 8 rebounds on her 25th birthday. Aces responded. Jackie Young stretches the lead to 4. 30-point game for her, but the Valks wouldn't go away. Tiffany Hayes off 1 foot, knocks down the triple, keeps Golden State alive, but Vegas was clutch at the foul line. Aces went 10 for 10 from the charity stripe in the final 3.5 minutes, including the dagger from Young. Aces hang on to win this one, 104-102.
We're feeling pain. We're more upset. We're not sad. We know that we have Phoenix next. And so, again, they already talked about it before I even walked in there. I'm like, what did you guys talk about? Like, we didn't follow the defensive game plan. So it was the same thing. I said, great, because we're going to learn from this. We're going to watch the film. Why? But I want to know, a little bit more individually, what can we do better? And then we're already on to Phoenix. So we don't get sad. We get mad.
You heard the coach. It's on to the Mercury. Valkyries will be back at Ball Hall on Monday night, taking on Phoenix. Our pregame coverage begins at 6:30 on Pix Plus. To the pitch, the San Jose Earthquakes looking to earn 3 points on the road against Minnesota United. Quakes didn't get off to a good start after Tani Oluwaseyi taps in the ball to open up the scoring just 2 minutes into the game. San Jose trailed 3-0 in the second half until defender Bruno Wilson scores a tap-in goal of his own. Quakes would go on to lose 4-1. They'll be back at home against FC Dallas on Wednesday. George Kittle been a fan favorite amongst the celebs playing in Tahoe for the American Century Championship, and he showed off his golf swing on the par 3 17th at Edgewood. Maybe hit it a little thin, but right on target. Sticks the green. May not be in contention to win, but I would bet good money that he's having the most fun out there. People's tied in, might need a longer putter, by the way. Goes on to 3-putt for bogey. That stance is just not it. Shot of the day, however, belongs to Oakland native Jimmy Rollins. Called his shot on the par 3, 12th hole, and he aces this thing. One hopping in. He's now the proud owner of that boat sitting behind him. As for the contender, slow start for Steph Curry in round 2, but he finished 2 under on his last 11 holes to stay in the hunt. He's currently 9 points back of the leader, former Shark Joe Pavelski, heading into the final round. All right. Matthew McConaughey in the house at Wimbledon. Amanda Anisimova, the first American in the ladies' final since Serena Williams, but she was on the wrong side of history against Iga Swiatek. Anisimova did not win a single game. Swiatek becomes the first player in 37 years to win 6-love in the Grand Slam final. First win at Wimbledon, 6th career major title. Congrats to her. That's going to do it for sports. Have a great day.
Coming up after the break, the search effort in the flood zone in central Texas now moving from rescue to recovery. More than 150 people still missing. We'll have the latest there. Plus, President Trump threatens more tariffs against 2 of America's largest trading partners. The levies, he says, may begin in just a matter of weeks. Zoe.
Well, it's a gloomy start today in San Francisco and across most of the Bay. We're basically all underneath a layer of thick fog and cloud coverage. It might create some visibility issues. You might be driving through some mist and have those windshield wipers on. Something to keep in mind as you step out early this morning, and I'll let you know how long these clear as the sky July conditions will stick around for coming up in just a bit.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Welcome back. It is 6:30 on the dot on this Sunday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Max Darrow. First Alert meteorologist Zoe Mintz is here. And Zoe, we've got microclimates in full effect today. And the live look behind us shows, at least if you're in San Francisco, you're waking up to a lot of fog.
That's how most of us are. So just take your cup of coffee, soak in the fog this morning, not the sunshine, unfortunately. But, you know, at least it's what we expect this time of year. It
normal.
It is nothing too out of the ordinary. But if you were hoping to see a beautiful sunrise, then you had to head to the top of the mountains today, because on top of Mount Diablo, look at the colors. And normally we don't see as beautiful of sunrises on top of Mount Diablo because this is facing west and the sunrise is in the east. But there was a 360-degree view of vibrant colors in the sky this morning, thanks to a little bit of wildfire smoke that's hanging on overhead from the Northern California wildfires, but it's not decreasing our air quality all too much. What's also really interesting from our video from on top of Black Mountain is that you can literally see the inversion layer. This little layer of haze right here is what's known as an inversion layer. Basically, there's a layer of cold air that is trapping the fog in a slightly warmer layer of air underneath it. Fun fact, that's what we normally see each and every morning as we wake up here in the Bay Area. And it's really interesting that we can actually visibly see it by looking at a layer of haze. Most of us, though, are not seeing all too much in the sky besides the fog, besides the cloud coverage. And we are expecting most of our inland communities to see quite a lot of sunshine. It's going to take a little bit longer for the fog to peel back, though, this afternoon. And I'll let you know how long these foggy conditions will stick around for, because most of our coastal communities not going to see much sunshine today. All things I'll break down coming up in just a bit. Max, back to you.
Thank you for that, Zoe. We'll look for that. A search for the victims of devastating floods in Kerr County, Texas, has transitioned into a recovery effort just 1 week after the last survivor was found. At least 129 people were killed. And now, as CBS News' Wendy Gillette tells us, volunteers and professional search crews are looking for any sign of people, 160 who remain missing.
Dance and prayer are helping a shaken community recover.
I just feel like there's people that need to be reached.
A small vigil was held in Kerrville, Texas, Saturday night for the victims, including at least 27 campers and counselors at Camp Mystic.
You can't fathom what people are going through that have lost those little girls.
Kerr County officials announced 7 more bodies were found. Over 2,000 people are searching for the missing. The piles of debris that go on for miles.
Looks like a bomb went off.
Local resident Marcy Heap is volunteering, helping the search teams combing the area along the Guadalupe River stay fed and hydrated.
A few days ago, I found a little flowered necklace wrapped up in a tree, and it got me. I broke down because I knew it belonged to one of those little girls from the camp.
I've never seen anything like it.
County officials thanked President Trump for his visit Friday, saying his support, as well as the heartbreak across the nation, are providing some comfort to a grieving region.
President Trump threatening more tariffs, this time targeting the European Union and Mexico, as well as Canada. From his New Jersey retreat, President Trump rolled out new 30% tariffs on the European Union and Mexico, warning they will take effect in August. He claims unfair trade deals and drug trafficking forced his hand. Canada isn't being spared either, hit with a 35% tariff and accusations of allowing fentanyl to cross the border. Leaders across Europe and North America are pushing back hard, warning of a looming trade war. Trump says he is fixing decades of bad deals. The Justice Department just fired more officials tied to prior investigations into President Trump. Attorney General Pam Bondi has now fired more than 35 staffers who worked on special counsel Jack Smith's investigation into Trump's handling of classified records and his attempt to overturn the 2020 election. They include prosecutors, paralegals, and public affairs staff. Bondi's so-called weaponization working group led the effort, targeting employees seen as hostile to Trump's agenda. Critics call this an act of political retribution. Columbia University may soon strike a major deal with the Trump administration, one that could bring back hundreds of millions of dollars in lost federal funding. CNN reports that Columbia plans to pay a multi-million-dollar settlement and overhaul policies on civil rights, DEI, and campus safety for Jewish students. In return, the Trump administration would restore more than $400 million in federal funding. Talks still underway, but insiders say this deal could become a model for other top schools under pressure, like Harvard. 6:35 on this Sunday morning. Coming up, an innovative way to make an antidote to opioid overdoses available for anyone who may need them. We'll talk live after the break with the Bay Area couple behind the efforts about what makes them so motivated. A North Bay couple is dedicated to distributing the potentially life-saving remedy for opioid overdoses. They've been driven to take action since their 22-year-old son died of an overdose back in 2019. Now they are developing a method of distribution that involves old newspaper boxes that will have Narcan inside. Joining us now, Michelle and Micah Sawyer, Sr., the co-founders of Micah's Hugs. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Good morning.
So let's start with the actual idea of this push to get more Narcan out in the communities. What physically can we see happening?
Well, right now we've got Narcan boxes that we're having out throughout the community, and we're offering free Narcan. And we believe that getting Narcan out to everybody and is helping reduce overdose rates. This last year, the rates have been coming down, and we attribute a lot of that to the education and training that we're providing, not just us personally, but all the resources that are being given so people can have Narcan.
I know that the two of you have been very big advocates for reducing opioid overdoses in Bay Area communities and beyond for several years. This is personal for you.
Yes, yes, it is. When we lost my son 6 years ago now, it was really the grief that we went through was really, kind of unbelievable. And we kind of realized we wanted to do what we could to try to stop other families from having to go through the same thing, help reduce the grief that other people might be feeling.
Tell us a little bit about Micah.
So Micah was a great kid, and he was a real kind of star athlete. He was captain of the football team. He won the weightlifting competition at his high school. Very popular kid, youngest kid to be brought up to play varsity football. As a family, we kind of did everything together. But we like to tell his story like that a little bit, so people see that he wasn't the person that you thought would be most likely to get pulled into addiction or to fall into substance use. So people always look at maybe the stoner kid or the unusual person, the homeless man, as somebody that's the user. But we like to tell that story to try to help break the stigma a little bit about who might be using, and that way people that are struggling may be more likely to reach out for help or look for help if the stigma gets better.
Reducing the stigma is a never-ending mission there, and I thank you guys for being on that. When it comes to these newspaper bins, tell me about how this can work for somebody. And where can they find these?
So we have put these there on newspaper boxes that we have local newspaper Press Democrat donated to us, and we have painted them and repurposed them, and they're now free. They're open, and you can go around, and they're 24 hours a day, so they're outside of businesses, but you can just open them up and take Narcan. We also have fentanyl test strips inside those boxes, so there can be test strips available, but they're free and they can get them anytime. And we have 4 of them placed so far, 2 in Petaluma, 1 in Cloverdale, and 1 in Guerneville. And we have 3 more here that we're working on getting ready to place those as well.
Micah and Michelle, if you could get a message out there to anybody watching this, whether it's a family or whether it's somebody who may be in need of what's inside these newspaper boxes, what would you tell those people?
I think the biggest message is we want everyone to be educated and learn, because there's so many kids, especially high school age or middle school age, that doesn't realize the importance of counterfeit pills. And so we really want people to learn, be educated. We've been going into schools recently and hopefully get into more schools. That was a big breakthrough for us.
Did you have something you wanted to add there, Micah? Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that, the education is just so key, and it's a big part of what we try to do. And for people to, when we first started doing this a few years ago, and people really weren't near as interested. And now that the message is getting out more and more and more, and people are coming to us and say they want to be educated and they want to. We're hearing less people saying, I don't need that. I don't need to learn about that because I don't do drugs, or my family doesn't, do drugs. And now they're starting to realize that this can hit anybody. This can affect anybody, whether you think it's coming or don't. So everybody needs to be educated.
Micah and Michelle Sawyer, thank you so much for joining us today and for the mission that you continue to do every single day in the North Bay and beyond. We appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye-bye. Coming up after the break, the majority of overwhelming the overwhelming majority of our nation's airports do not have dedicated air traffic controllers. So question, could AI help fill that void? We'll explore the issue when we come back. Welcome back. It is 6:46 on this Sunday morning. Here's a live look at the Bay Bridge from the East Bay, looking off towards San Francisco and Treasure Island. Traffic moving very smoothly, but you can see a very foggy start to the day. We're going to check in with Zoe Mintz in just a few moments. But first, not every airport uses air traffic controllers, including some here in the Bay Area, and that might come as a bit of a surprise to you. I had the chance to meet a young pilot who's come up with a high-tech way to make those facilities and the skies a little bit safer.
There is a lot that fuels humans' fascination with flight. And for 18-year-old Maizan Rupan Tompkins, that fascination stems from a feeling.
Just the feeling, I'm just like almost being on top of the world.
And from science.
And how planes just take off and all the principles on just aerodynamics.
Maizan is a young pilot with a background in computer science and AI, and he says he's developed an AI tool called Stratus that will make aviation safer. The idea stemmed from his own in-flight experiences.
I personally came across multiple near-mid-air collisions, so that was one of the main inspirations where I do not want any other pilot to experience something I felt. Currently with airports, there's barely any AI integration, so I feel like just making a small step and improving safety and safety nets can help a lot.
Stratus is a real-time autonomous co-pilot system that uses AI to listen to and understand pilot comms and flag abnormalities before they become dangerous in situations where there is no air traffic controller. Maizan says while major airports have dedicated air traffic control, 85% of airports throughout the country are either low-resourced or totally untowered.
But uncontrolled means there's actually no one that has jurisdiction over your communications. It's kind of free form. So you speak over, it's called a CTAF, a Common Traffic Advisory Frequency, and you announce your, let's say, your decisions to everyone on this frequency.
Most of the regional airports in the Bay Area are towered.
So yeah, that right there, that's the San Carlos Airport Tower.
However,
there are airports such as Half Moon Bay or Byron, which are in the Bay Area, which are non-towered airports. But airports such as Hayward or Reed Hillview, after hours, they do become untowered.
I think there's a huge use for that. I think he's really onto something with this.
Scott Miller is a commercial airline pilot, aviation lecturer at San Jose State University, and flight instructor. He says there already is a very high level of safety in aviation, but upon first look, he's really enthusiastic about Maizan's idea.
Never contemplated having AI monitor uncontrolled fields and be able to actually activate a response. Beautiful.
Maizan says his AI tool will not replace controllers, but rather aid them and support pilots in places they don't exist.
This is not powered by, let's say, just large language models, but rather statistical machine learning models that are based on historic flight training data. Even if it's like 1% or 2% increase in safety can help out and go a long ways.
A young innovator, hopeful his technology takes off, making the skies safer, one flight at a time.
Maizan says he's actually in talks with numerous airports throughout our region and has a goal of deploying Stratus at 10 locations this summer. Zoe, honestly, one of the smartest young innovators I have ever met throughout my career.
He seems like a cool kid. I want to get lunch with him, pick his brain, see what he's all about. Maybe he'll take us on a flight.
That could be arranged. Who knows? If he's watching,
yeah, fingers crossed. But honestly, this morning, bad flying conditions.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be up there right now. It's like dense fog.
Dense fog, not great visibility. Wait until this afternoon or head on inland where the fog isn't nearly as dense. But I mean, here in San Francisco, I tried to take a camera view from on top of Salesforce, from on top of Sutro, from on top of Mark Hopkins, but there's nothing to be seen on top of those buildings. It's just fog out there. So this is a view from Treasure Island where you can see the tops of basically all of our tall buildings in San Francisco covered by that layer of thick, dense fog. It's misty as well. Your windshield wipers might be going early this morning. Temperatures are sitting in the 50s all across the Bay Area. It's a mild start to our day. And by the afternoon hours, it really depends on where you're going and what you're doing. Maybe you're heading out to the Dodgers versus Giants game. Very similar to yesterday. We'll be in the mid-60s, a good amount of sunshine out there. So wear your sunscreen so you don't get burned like I did on Wednesday. Or maybe you're heading out to the big race at Sonoma. it's also going to be hot, and you're also going to need sunscreen, although it's not as hot as it could be this time of year, upper 70s to low 80s. That's some comfortable heat for the summertime in Sonoma. But if you want to head on inland and enjoy some more hot temperatures, not so comfortable heat, the California State Fair is going on this weekend in Sacramento. You'll be seeing those highs getting in the upper 90s by the afternoon hours. So again, it is all location dependent on what your plans are this afternoon. Early this morning, everybody other than the highest elevations are seeing that thick, dense layer of fog. And it's going to take throughout the late morning hours for most of this fog to peel back from our valley communities. Unfortunately, though, if you live along the coast, most of the fog is going to stick around basically all day long. And if you live in the western half of San Francisco and in the direct path of the Golden Gate, that fog is going to be stubborn all day long, and you're not going to be seeing all too much sunshine, keeping those high temperatures a couple of degrees below average, but still relatively seasonable. We'll still be sitting in the low 60s, very similar to what we saw yesterday. Farther inland you go, as usual, the warmer it gets, upper 80s to low 90s down into the Santa Clara Valley and across our inland East Bay communities, while our North Bay, like I said, comfortable heat today, upper 70s to low 80s. So again, it's all location dependent and is all activity dependent as well. Overnight tonight, we're expecting even thicker fog to arrive and waking up early tomorrow morning. Again, give yourself an extra couple of minutes because kind of a rinse and repeat with this thick layer of fog staying very tight to our coastal communities, and those where's the sky July conditions will be in full force along the coast throughout the next couple of days, while our inland areas throughout the next couple of days will be within a degree or two of what we've been feeling today and yesterday. So very seasonable all across the Bay Area before a big cool down actually heads our way by the time that we step out later this upcoming week. So it all depends on what you like as well as we step out, because those wind gusts are going to begin to pick up tomorrow afternoon as well, ushering in even stronger onshore flow, and that is going to bring in even more of those mistier, foggier conditions as well. If we take a look at the next 7 days, though, a big cool down will arrive from Monday into Tuesday across those inland areas, with those high temperatures sitting in the low 80s for this time of year. It's about 5 degrees below average, but again, it means more comfortable conditions if you do plan on spending any extended periods of time outdoors. Areas around the Bay, upper 60s to low 70s for the next 7 days, with early morning fog giving way to afternoon sunshine.
Welcome back. The time is 6:54 on this Sunday morning. Let's give you a look at some of today's top headlines. Trash is stacking up in more than 24 Bay Area cities due to a Teamsters work stoppage. Some places have not seen pickup in days. Republic Services now bringing in substitute drivers to tackle the backlog. Service still is spotty. Several drop-off sites are open today as neighbors deal with the mess, and we cannot forget the smell. Power is back on in Sausalito after a Saturday night outage left parts of Marin in the dark. It hit right in the middle of the dinner rush, forcing many restaurants to close early. City officials are blaming a blown transformer. In San Francisco, supporters took a leap for a cause as 45 people rappelled down the facade of the Westin St. Francis in Union Square. The point is to raise awareness for brain aneurysm and stroke research. A local nonprofit hopes to raise $50,000. In Sonoma County, race day is underway at the Toyota Save Mart 350, NASCAR's only California stop for the season. Gates will open just a few minutes from now, so fans can catch the Patriots Jet Team Air Show that happens before the race. That road race starts at 12:30. Zoe.
Well, it's going to be a beautiful day no matter where you are across the Bay. Sonoma even is going to be comfortable heat, seasonable for this time of year, staying that way through tomorrow. A big cool down, though, will be heading our way starting Tuesday and continuing through next week with a little bit more cloud coverage and a little bit more of those strong onshore winds. If you live along the coast, though, you're going to be seeing that full, where's the sky July continuing. Let's take this out. Hopefully pull up our coastal communities because they're really not going to be seeing all too many changes over the next several days. They'll be staying in the low 60s along with those foggy conditions sticking around at least through early next week, Max. So typical for this time of year, at least through Monday.
Microclimates in full force. Cannot say that enough on a Sunday morning in July.
It makes my job more interesting.
Absolutely. So finally, today, San Francisco's Ferry Building is celebrating its 127th birthday.
Happy birthday. It's marking the occasion with a Ferry Fest along the waterfront. It offers a full day of live music and local shopping deals. Various merchants at the Ferry Building will have specials and promotions good for today only. People can also RSVP for a chance to win a VIP giveaway. Today's Ferry Fest is free and it runs from 11 a.m. to 6:30 this evening.
I guess I know what I am doing for breakfast today. That is always the million-dollar question after the 6 a.m. newscast.
But it doesn't start till 11, so it might have to be a brunch more than a breakfast.
We'll call it a brunch. And for us morning folk, that's really almost like a dinner time.
Honestly, yeah, I was about to say, it's definitely savory food and not the sweet breakfast food.
Yes, great place, though. We're so lucky to have the gem of the Ferry Building. And I think it was 2003 when it opened as the Marketplace. So there's a fun fact for
I
you.
love that. Hopefully I see everyone out there today. We'll be there.
Thanks for joining us today. CBS Sunday Morning with Jane Pauley's coming up next here on KPIX. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. There's a foggy look at San Francisco to give you a start to your day. Have a good one.